Okay, I want to say hello again everybody. It's only me, Wushu Richard, with a new series for everybody, okay? It's a special series. This is something different. I'm using my webcam, and I don't always use this webcam. Actually, this is a new one also. Got my microphone set up, and I'm not going to make this alone, okay? I'm making this video with somebody else, a special person doing the show with me, okay? And I thank you everybody for watching. This is going to be on my channel in future. It's a new series, and the name of the series is Mind Tunnels. Okay, Mind Tunnels. It's basically going to be an open talks, open topics show where we will be talking about all different kinds of topics, okay, positively and open-mindedly. It's not really about debates or anything, but we're just sharing different views on different points on different subjects, okay. First of all, I'll introduce the other person, okay. Obviously you know me, Richard, or Wushu Richard, okay. My family name, my surname is Clark, Richard Clark. Well, guess what, the other person on the show, okay, who's going to be hosting the show with me, okay, together making this show in future, it's my younger brother, okay, my brother Wayne, okay, Wayne Clark, in England, okay, so if you want to say hello, Wayne.
Hello everybody. Yeah, we decided to do a talk, a series of talks on different topics, maybe, once a week or whenever. I haven't done anything like this before, and I've agreed to come on to introduce today a topic called non-violent communication. Wow. So we'll see how it goes, yeah?
Great, it sounds absolutely great, and I'm really happy actually, because I like this kind of thing where we can make like a show together, and especially having that live open communication. I've made so many videos over the years, and back and forth sometimes we've had communication online, but to actually make a live show, we're actually talking to someone, I think it can be interesting, and hopefully interesting for the viewers too. Okay, today's topic, okay, for this first episode of Mind Tunnels, is a topic that was suggested by Wayne, okay, and it's actually a thing called NVC, and it apparently stands for non-violent communication. Sounds good, right? It's new to me too. I've never heard of it as an actual topic, but Wayne knows a lot more about that, so I'll let Wayne give a little brief introduction to this non-violent communication, if you'd like, Wayne.
Okay, so I've got several tabs open here. I'm just going to read the beginning of the Wikipedia article quickly. So it says, non-violent communication, abbreviated NVC, also called compassionate communication or collaborative communication, is a communication process developed by Marshall Rosenberg beginning in the 1960s. It focuses on three aspects of communication: self-empathy, defined as a deep and compassionate awareness of one's own inner experience; empathy, understanding and sharing an emotion expressed by another; and honest self-expression, defined as expressing oneself authentically in a way that is likely to inspire compassion in others. So it says, non-violent communication is based on the idea that all human beings have the capacity for compassion and only resort to violence or behavior that harms others when they don't recognize more effective strategies for meeting needs. So I'm just going to read this bit. Communication that blocks compassion. So it says, Rosenberg says that certain ways of communicating tend to alienate people from the experience of compassion. And these are moralistic judgments implying wrongness or badness on the part of people who don't act in harmony with our values. So blame, insults, put-downs, labels, criticisms, comparisons, and diagnoses are all said to be forms of judgment. Demands that implicitly or explicitly threaten listeners with blame or punishment if they fail to comply. Denial of responsibility via language that obscures awareness of personal responsibility, vague impersonal forces like I had to, our condition, etc., making comparisons between people, a premise of deserving, that certain actions merit reward while others merit punishment, So it's basically this system that was developed by Marshall Rosenberg, it says beginning in the 1960s, of a way of resolving conflict, basically, of resolving if two people are arguing or having a fight or becoming aggressive. It's understanding what they want out of the interaction, maybe getting to know what's going on in their head, how they feel, and maybe, you know, if you could at least make them feel better or make them put their guard down a bit, or you know, maybe resolve the situation peacefully instead of turning violent. And Marshall Rosenberg died, unfortunately, I think in 2014, but he was a really good guy who travelled around the world and spoke to different tribes and resolved, you know, certain you know, feuds that were going on between them, basically, by using this technique. And I think it's really good. There's a book that he wrote, the most famous book he put out, called Nonviolent Communication, A Language of Life. And I haven't read the book, but I've watched on YouTube many of Marshall Rosenberg's workshops there, and different presentations where he puts these ideas forward. And so just this little bit here, it says non-violent communication is based on a fundamental principle underlying all human actions are needs that people are seeking to meet. Okay, so first we need to define, you know, what you think a need might be, or perhaps the difference between needs and wants. So I don't know if you want to pick it up. When I introduced you to this the other day, you said you weren't sure about you know, what exactly people are talking about when they say I need this, I need that. So do you want to tell me what your why you maybe disagreed with this when I first introduced you to it?
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's true. Yeah. Thank you, Wayne, very much for that. Thanks. Very interesting there information for people on this. Okay. This his name is Marshall Rosenberg. Yes, or he was.
That's it. Yep.
Okay. The other day I watched a video for the first time that you sent me. Okay, this is what Wayne sent me, and it was very fascinating. Recently I've seen other videos, lots of videos now. Lots of people will know about some of the violence that's going on all over the world, especially issues with these refugees and things like this in crisis that's going on all over the world, you know. And Marshall Rosenberg in the video was talking about just, you know, the need to be able to see people on their level as such. He was very open-minded and very positive, and he was talking all about that. It seemed that he was talking about how, you know, you need to hear people out. You know, what are their needs? You know, you've got to be reasonable. You can't just you know, complain that people are not happy about this and that, because they may have a good reason to. Yeah, fair enough. But you know, my point, what I said was, you know, is about, you know, the amount of violence that's been going on in the world, though, and it doesn't matter who it, in my point of view, to me, it doesn't matter if someone's poor or whatever they've got against them. If you're going and attacking people, this is what I said yesterday, if you're going around attacking people and and causing so much destruction, especially if it's, you know, in another country that's not your own country or not your own home even, or anywhere, of course it's wrong. And negativity is negativity. But the thing, the point, I'm answering your question, Wayne. Sorry, answering Wayne's question here about, you know, well, what was your question again, Wayne? About the needs, was it?
Yeah, I thought maybe you maybe had a different understanding to me about what a need is. Like when people say, you know, like non-violent communication, they use a lot of, you know, the people that practice it use a lot of jargon words like needs and like deserve-oriented language they talk about, and how people express their needs differently, you know. So I was wondering if you had a different definition for needs, you know, to me. So I understand it as meaning like certain fundamental requirements, like food or you know, what have you. I don't like if someone said I want a new, you know, whatever, iPhone or whatever. That wouldn't be a need, you know. That would be a more of a want, wouldn't it?
Yes. So, okay. Well, yeah. Okay. Then, yeah, I agree. What I mean is, you know, you see, I've seen videos of certain hordes of refugees from certain countries that have come into other countries. They've been offered homes and things that they have obviously needed, because they've come from war-torn countries and stuff, but yet they go around raping people, smashing everything up, and causing crime and anarchy, because they still feel that they need more. They've not been given the best, or they want more money. This is one bad example there, for not for all of the refugees, but a lot. I know it's like exaggerated a lot of the time in the news, but a lot of this stuff is true, of stuff that's obviously happening. But anyway, my personal view, though, answering the question now, excuse me, is basically the same as you, I think. Needs, okay, why is it that certain people or certain groups of people, even in their own countries or wherever, in this one planet, this Earth, why is it that certain groups of people need certain things, their needs aren't being met, or they're lacking, food or whatever it might be? Some people live in some parts of the world where they're starving, or there's drought or whatever, natural phenomenon, yeah. But some of it is actually because they're being controlled. Other countries or other people are coming in and controlling those people. So if you keep people a prisoner, if they're under your control, then damn right, there's injustice being done. They're going to kick up a storm, and their needs are not being met. And not only that, they should start causing trouble, and they should kick ass, because ultimately justice has got to prevail against bullies of any kind. That's how I feel. You can't bow that. You either give up and die to bullies, or you fight back. But I'm saying, for the people that have been honestly treated fairly, given something, some kind of home, some kind of food, done something for them. Sometimes they can get a bit too ungrateful. You shouldn't blame people always, I feel, for I need this, I need that, I need more now, I need more. You're lucky you've escaped with your life. Not to say it nastily. That's basically.
Yeah, I think it depends, doesn't it, on what people mean by need as well. Like certain things are demands, aren't they? Like I deserve this, I deserve that. I don't really. I make a distinction between needs and demands.
Yeah.
And especially some of these countries as well that the refugees are coming from. When you see how they've been, bombed and decimated, basically turned into rubble, haven't they? By in all of these wars that have been rampaging across the world.
Exactly.
And they do feel like their country's been destroyed, and they're looking for somewhere to live where they can be maybe a bit of a better life.
Yeah, better life.
So I don't know.
But it's like you can't. There's just not enough to go around. I mean, if you was in a street, and you let another family live in your house, it would be hard enough with 2 families living in one house. But then if you had 3 families, 8 families all coming in, you just would not have enough. Even if you had a big house, you might not have the rations, the food to go around in. They still expect to have the same. That house wouldn't belong to that person anymore. And eventually it would just become as poor as any other poor part of the world. And you see these war-torn countries. Some of these countries, not all countries, because some countries are invaded by other countries and other groups, fair enough, but sometimes you get these countries where it's 2 groups within the same country, or if it's the people themselves, they've torn it all up themselves. They may have been poor to start with, but they may have had like some form of peace. They had buildings. Now when you see this stuff on the news, I know it's all propaganda on the news a lot of the time, you can't believe all you see, the media, but you still see all these houses, rubble everywhere, and it just looks like an absolute wasteland. Now they go into the West, I guess they see the West, in Europe or other parts of America or whatever. They see it like it's a soft, golden land of opportunity where they're entitled to have the same as everybody else. But if there's no control, fair enough, they could be doing more to help these other countries, maybe, but if the whole world's going to be like, torn apart by people. What I'm trying to say. There's not enough.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's a big topic, like to do with immigration and all the rest of it. I just wanted really to stay on the non-violent communication thing at the moment.
That's the first step.
Like, for instance, like if you it's to do with how people interact as well in their personal lives. Like if you perhaps someone isn't treating you the way you want to be treated, or the way you think you deserve to be treated, or you think, oh, you don't love me. Where's that coming from? Is it because they didn't buy you something, or they didn't, or is it because they didn't give you a birthday card this year or whatever, and you want to kick up a fuss about that, or or is there a lack of communication there, where you can't really express how you feel to the other person, or you feel you can't for whatever reason, and maybe that's why a lot of people do become aggressive and violent and want to blame people and put them down, and maybe it's because of their own problems, or because they can't express themselves in any other way, so they just become aggressive.
Yeah, it's person to
I see. For me, that's what NVC is all about. Is learning how to solve that problem. Learning to teach people how to express their feelings honestly, so they don't feel they're being judged or whatever, and they don't feel they have to blame anyone else or become violent maybe.
Exactly, I feel the same. Yeah, it's very, very important, and definitely finding a peaceful way to communicate with. That human beings can come to some kind of level. Peaceful way of communication is the way to go. Communication is very important with people. The problem is so many people don't know how to communicate. That's like one of my favourite, or someone I like is Jock Fresco. I mentioned before Jock Fresco. He always said, the problem is so many people most people don't understand each other. They always feel controlled in some way. They can't be honest with each other because people are always judging them, or they feel they owe people something or other. They can't be honest. So everybody always feels under attack. They always feel that they're on the defensive, and this is the biggest problem. They don't know how to think. They don't know how to communicate. Because what is the perfect way? I remember, Wayne, you mentioned one word. You said a word earlier on. You said the word moral, and this is another problem. People having their own view of morality, and they're also looking out into the world and expecting some kind of morality from everybody else to treat them that way. They can't. They're only seeing it their way, and this is it. What's real moral? That's another topic. Does it exist? Right. Another thing. Yeah. So Marshall Rosenberg called it jackal language, right? The language of the jackal, which is a particularly aggressive animal, isn't it? It's a hunter. So he called it jackal language when you're speaking to someone kind of aggressively, like you're really not interested in how they feel, you just want to sort of force your views on them, sort of thing. And the opposite was called giraffe language, because a giraffe is quite peaceful, and it's a herbivore, remember? Herbivore, yeah. They like herbs.
It eats leaves, yeah.
How about...
No, it's interesting. That's just some of the jargon, the words associated with this NVC thing. They've got the whole language that they use. I just see it more as like something interesting that you can look at, and maybe a potential help to somebody.
Definitely. Okay. So
I've got some links here. I can provide some links to websites. You can put them in the video description, maybe below.
Anyone who would like to know. Okay, links to what's that?
To various websites. There's one that's cnvc.org. It's the Centre for Non-Violent Communication. That's one of them.
Okay. And the other
and I want to put a link to maybe the book as well. And I've got an essay that someone else has written as well on another website that's about it. It's called A Concise Guide to Nonviolent Communication. This is written by not Marshall Rosenberg, but a couple of other people. It might be worth reading as well.
Okay, well, I think that could probably be very useful to people, hopefully. Thank you very much, Wayne. I'll put the links in the end, okay, so we can have all the links at the end for everybody, okay, maybe in the description for this video too, if you want to click and go directly there, that would be great. Okay.
I think it's a good idea, if people are interested, they want to see more about it, maybe it might help,
Yeah, because we're just sharing our views, but if anybody wants to really look into this, it would be a great thing. And this Marshall Rosenberg, I don't know much about him, but he did seem a positive person, and there are positive people in this world, far and few it seems in this day and age, but we do need to be positive in ourselves, and that's where it starts. We have to. The other day, I was watching some videos from an artist who's not with us anymore, an artist whose name was Bob Ross. Some people might know him. I think it was in the 70s or 80s, maybe the 70s. He was a painter, an artist, but just his way, you know, he was so calm and positive, just the way he would word himself. You know, you have to look for the beauty in life, I feel, yes.
Yeah, just keep the communication going. That's the biggest advice I could give. Just keep talking.
Exactly. I find sometimes people get too impatient and they're talking over each other, or it ends up where the communication stops. It either just stops or they end up, you know, pile up, car crash kind of thing, and then the violence starts for one reason or another that no one's really sure about even later on, but they will go back and blame each other for years on years, generation after generation.
Yeah, but people do react in different ways, you know, in situations like if it's on a busy road, you know, oh, he cut in front of me, you know, now I'm going to take a golf club to his car or whatever. It's like if you can catch yourself, you know, in those moments, you know, and realise how you're reacting and maybe think there might be a better way, you know, of dealing with the situation, yeah.
Yeah, it's very hard.
Instead of wanting to hurt someone, you know, and maybe they were busy, maybe they were on their way to work, or maybe their mother was ill in hospital, or you don't know why they might have been, you know, in a hurry. So you've got to consider, you know, other people's needs, if you want to use that word. You know, their need is to get where they want to go. Exactly. Your need is to get where you want to go. If you're both on a road, say, two motorists, you know.
Wow, that's so true, Wayne. Actually, you've brought up something there, Wayne. Wayne's brought up something here. I will say, okay, that has reminded me of one of my other videos I made, another video recently where I was talking about, you know, how in life sometimes you can make mistakes along the way. Things might happen. Like I was talking in another video about how you should follow your own mind sometimes and not follow others, and sometimes don't get too complicated, because things can happen. Other people might do the wrong things, or even yourself. You may come up against challenges, things that seem as though they are signs telling you need to change something about your ways, and then if you do, you may make the big mistake of actually following those signs, when actually it's just all a learning thing. It's all part of the development. As long as your heart's right, your intention's right, you're not trying to force anything on anybody else, and you can still prevail in the end. I feel you don't always have to change or you know, blame other people as such, you know, and tell them to change.
No, it's really about finding a win-win scenario, isn't it?
That's it.
Where both people, in Marshall Rosenberg would say, where both people get their needs met. That's what he would say. That's, you know.
Or also we could say not have the opposite of that. You know, not have negativity. Have less. Try to avoid any worse conflict happening. Well, yeah, as long as there's peace. It's like, I remember a long time ago in one of my videos, I mean years ago, when I said it in the philosophy videos and all of that, and I said one of my simple videos I did before, and I said, you know, you may not win, but you don't lose, and if you don't lose, that's basically winning anyway. Anything more is extra. It's great. Yeah.
Very good. That's very good advice. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, not advice, but it's a very good insight, you know.
That's it, you know. I don't try and like make advice videos anyway. Usually, I just say what I think, and you know, people hear how they do. We can't lie to ourselves, even, right? We know only what we know from our experience. We know how we feel about things, if we're happy or not. The problem is when we start to connect our thoughts and then our physical problems in our lives also to other people, or other people's attitudes, or how they live. That's when we get very complicated. It's like we're tied up in a spider's web almost, like It, if you've ever seen the movie, anyone. Me and Wayne love it, okay? And Pennywise the Dancing Clown. Excellent movie.
Right.
Yeah, I
don't know how we got from non-violent communication to It, but there you go.
You know?
I don't know, maybe Pennywise needs to start practicing it.
Absolutely, definitely. But he's happy. You see how happy that guy is anyway? I mean, some of these kids panicking. I'm really joking. No. Okay, Wayne, I'll ask you a question maybe, or do you want to ask me the next question?
No, go ahead. You can ask me a question.
Do you think, I've got 2 points really. One question would be, you can answer any of them. One would be, what are some common reasons why people get violent, do you think? And just give a few. And how, in your opinion, how could we resolve some of them or avoid that? How can people control their mind tunnels, and non-violent communication with themselves first, right? And their thinking.
Well, I would say the most important thing is to get to know yourself better. Get to know, how you feel, your emotions, your thoughts, everything that's maybe going on in your head that you're not really conscious of, but it's there, in the background all the time. Get to know yourself better in all ways, really, and become more conscious of how you act in your daily life, how you treat others, and maybe consider how your actions might be affecting their lives, and whether you can perhaps improve or do something differently. I think it's a natural thing, once you get to know yourself better, that you do tend to treat others better as well, because you understand more, you understand how others feel by understanding how you feel. I
totally agree.
You could go into like hundreds and hundreds of examples, couldn't you, of daily situations people are in, that they maybe they're getting a bit impatient, standing in a queue or something, lining up to buy their food or anything, it could be. But it's just knowing how to be not tolerant, or it's the wrong word really, but learning to be patient and to understand others as well as yourself, I think.
Thank you so much, Wayne. I want to say to everybody watching this, I just want to say quickly, if anybody's watching this video, I mean, I'm sure you can see that me and my brother Wayne, we have very similar ways of thinking, and Wayne is one of the few people that I feel who can understand this kind of point that I've tried to mention. I was talking to Wayne earlier on before we started making today's episode of Mind Tunnels, and I was saying, it's not always about like feeling you have to forgive people, just like Wayne just said just there, right? Wayne, you said it's not about being tolerant of people as such, because then you see people as a problem. There's no problem really. The conflict, we don't need to come to conflict. We just need to understand ourselves.
No, don't see people like as obstacles to be avoided.
No.
That's like coming at it from the wrong perspective.
Yeah, that's it. Some people go their whole lives and they feel as though, look how reasonable I've been. I've forgiven everybody. I've done this. I've even helped people. They feel like, they're owed something. It's like, or maybe they were wrong for their kindness, or maybe that kindness should have been earned, or maybe there's no reason why there shouldn't be conflict. It's like but there's no reason why there should be conflict, really.
Exactly, yeah.
That's how I feel, yeah.
It's just people not really knowing themselves, I think, is what it comes down to, isn't it? They don't have a deep, sort of knowledge of who they are,
Exactly. It's like brain.
That's why I think they act so irrationally, and so violently as well. As a lot of people, they don't know themselves well enough to behave differently.
Exactly. They don't know. They just. It's like it's very hard. You couldn't tell them they're brainwashed. You wouldn't be able to tell. You wouldn't even be able to. It would be so difficult to try to break them down. Not break them down. I mean, try to explain or try to get onto a basic level of communication. It's become so complex. Their way of thinking. It's just their thinking. It's like their thoughts have been manufactured. It's been made. Brainwashed. Yeah.
You would have to start all over again, wouldn't it? It's like trying to make people blank slates in order to try and teach them properly, you know.
Yeah.
Not like you're trying to impose anything on them. I'm just saying you get them to maybe understand themselves a bit better, you know, just to think about some of the things I'm saying. You know, we talk about, like even you've mentioned it in some of your videos in the past about kids who join gangs or so on because you know, one of their parents wasn't around and they feel like the gang is sort of becomes the substitute, you know, for the father or something that was missing in their life, you know. It's a similar thing, isn't it, really, of them not really knowing who they are, or they feel some kind of need to join a gang for whatever reason, you know.
That's it, yeah, and again, something missing in their life, they have to find something they're lost. And again, this is going back again to the needs again, but the needs, yeah, where, like I said before in one of those videos, yes, I remember, and thank you for bringing it up and watching. But I want to say, yeah, like when I said before about, you know, how some of these young people, and they're really young, some of these youths you see in the West, in different countries, it could be in England, it could be in America or different parts of Europe, young people, they join gangs, there could be family issues, whatever it is, you know, and they feel they're let down by the government or whatever it is, jobs-wise and education, there's nothing to do, you know, and then it's like they feel they've got nothing, they need more, they need to be noticed, and they're complaining, oh, I don't have the latest trainers, I don't have this, I don't have that, you know, style, you know, but there's people in the world that are really starving to death, and they're in countries, maybe they can't even flee, even if they wanted to flee from these wars to become refugees, and I'm complaining that refugees are in the world causing all this trouble, you know, but some of them, but it's like some people really just want peace, and they're not really greedy as such, but they just want a peaceful life, and if they were to hear the way some of these people are carrying on in the West, you know, so, you know, like that, you know, but some of them do though, some of these refugees, they go abroad. I saw a video the other day and this guy was saying he's selling drugs in another country. Maybe he feels that's his only way to live, but I think it's a negative way, really terrible.
Yeah, it's sad. I think it's sad also that, you know, there aren't people that can reach out to them maybe, you know, and maybe tell them some of, you know, some of the things we've been talking about.
Yeah.
About, you know, maybe looking at things from a different perspective or, you know, trying something different.
Exactly. They won't have it. Nowadays I feel the youth is more different. I mean, like the young people, because of the way the world's going, and with technology too and everything else, you know, they're so disconnected with like nature and people's families. If you think back to the older generations, like our parents, grandma, when you go back and you look and the world was much more different. They didn't have the technology, but they really they had more heart. Now they don't want to hear anything from, I mean, young people never want to hear from their elders, fair enough, we understand that, but it's what they say. But what I mean is, the young people nowadays, they are very violent. They would rather you shut up. They feel it's just like some kind of form of control. If you're trying to reach out to them, they don't understand compassion. They don't even have a basic understanding of compassion to actually relate and see that, oh, this person's very helpful to me.
Right, that's why I like Marshall Rosenberg's, you know, work when he talks about building a bridge of empathy. That when you first start communicating with someone, the most important thing is to let them know that you care about their feelings and that you're talking to them not because you want to force anything on them or to change them in some way, but you really understand where they're coming from. You really want to help them. You know how they're feeling. You know, you want to build that bridge, as he calls it, so that you can then cross it, you know, with new ideas, or maybe suggest they can make better decisions in their lives or whatever, you know, for their sake, not to please anyone else, of course.
I agree. It's like,
but yeah, I agree. It's the technology is a big thing. Like I've heard of you know, these like teenagers will sit. I've heard that someone will sit in a room with their phones and they'll text the person on the other side of the room. Well, they could just talk to them instead, but they're so attached to their phones now and their all the gadgets, you know.
It's brainwashing. It's a mind control. It's scary, really. It's scary, really. It's becoming like cyber zombies. I mean, it's really getting to that stage. It really, and they're talking.
They are. People are losing the ability to communicate in many ways. You know, not just like empathically, like sharing your feelings, but in all ways. So they're really forgetting how human interaction used to be. You know, like in times gone by. Like as you were saying, our grandparents who lived in a completely different, environment, completely different society back then. You know?
Yeah, and anyone who does have any kind of understanding of natural, like human feelings, emotions, communicating about nature. I mean, if you did try to talk to a group of them, they'd just look at you like zombies, like they're on crack, which they probably are. I'm just saying,
terrible.
Looking at you like, what's wrong with you? They just don't understand it, And even now, I believe in this world, some people are so out of tune with nature. People walk down the street, some young people, and they see trees, on the street maybe. They know the blue sky, but they never really connect. They never realise that this is all made by people. That machine they're holding in their hand, that little phone when they're pressing, is like, what's really going on? And they know one day they'll die, but there's no meaning until that day, and it seems to whiz by so quickly, and it's pathetic.
Yeah, I agree. That makes me sad too. They never really take a minute out to think about what they're doing,
Exactly.
How they're spending their time, how they're losing that connection to nature and to other people around them as well.
Absolutely.
It's just the latest fad all the time, isn't it? Or whatever is the in thing,
Yeah, so you got non-violent, and what's the key word? Communication. So they've got no understanding in their mind of what communication's been taken out. Right, non-violent communication. Well, then you got the technology. Violence will always exist. Violent hackers. I'm just making up stuff now. I'm just saying though, the communication's the most important thing. And if they, I don't know what to say.
I agree. Anyway, it's just something for people to consider. Maybe think about these things, and I'll give you some links for them to check out too, if they're interested.
I guess we're coming up to about time now. It's about time. Okay, we're going to finish and wrap up. Okay, this first episode, everybody. Okay, thank you for watching, everybody. This is the first episode, or this was the first episode of Mind Tunnels. Each episode we make will be usually around half an hour. Maybe we might do longer ones in the future, depending on the topic, but usually around half an hour. With me, Richard Clark, and Wayne, my brother, Wayne Clark.
Yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. And if you've got any final thoughts, have you? Tell me now, before we finish.
Me, Wayne, you mean me, yes? Or the viewers, me?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Just before we finish, have you got any more to say?
Wrap it up. Or get a microphone, yo. No, but I'm just, basically, me, I don't know what to really say about it. The world is in a state of violence. It seems to be getting worse. Communication is the way forward. I think this is something that I never wanted to really mention before, because I do love technology. I think technology is great. It's helping the world, but definitely it is a problem. What controls people more than anything now? Of course, I'm not saying drugs. Some people are on addictions and drugs and other terrible things. It's like for other topics in the future maybe, but I'm saying things like, of course, the natural things which control us, like food, water, we need air, but the biggest fake thing, the man-made thing that it's a mind thing, isn't it? It's technology, and there must be something there. I feel is technology going to lead people into a more zombified state, that they're easily controlled by people until the breaking point where they can't take it any longer, and that's when wars break out, because they naturally have got that instinct because they need to survive. And this word.
Right, yeah. So I'll just finish by saying, always hear the yes in the no. Something people to ponder. Always hear the yes in the no. Maybe someone's asking for help when they actually tell you to go away. Maybe it's a sign that they need some help.
Yeah, always hear.
But there's another thing as well that Marshall Rosenberg says, which is ask before offering advice or reassurance. So ask. Like, don't let them think that you're trying to force anything on them. That's the main thing to remember.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like yeah, don't always don't always like butt in. Oh yes, but no, but or I agree, but let me help you out. I'm helping you, okay? You know, I helped you yesterday. No, it's not. You just hear what if you treat people fairly. I mean, think if someone was to honestly listen to you, and without saying this or that, they're just listening, hearing you out. You'd feel good in yourself, and you'd feel more relaxed. So we can work together, I believe, to help each other in this world, and it's better for us, I feel, to be humble. Yeah.
Very good. I agree.
Thanks, Wayne. Okay, so we're going to finish up now. Okay, and we'll see you again next time with another topic. Can't wait to see what that wonderful topic's going to be about. So don't miss it, okay? Because we'll be back again. And Wayne, is sharing some very useful links and some information, okay, that we're going to leave at the end of this video. And also in the actual description, you can of this video, you can click on them. Okay, you may be looking at this on YouTube, maybe on Facebook. If I leave the link to this video, also. Okay. Have you got any last things you want to say, Wayne, before we really go now?
Not really. I just wanted to say thanks for listening, everybody. I hope you got something out of this, and I look forward to our next one.
Okay. Thanks very much, Wayne. I got a lot. And people really benefit from communication, definitely. Okay, anybody watching this, okay, if you have any questions for me or Wayne, that would be great. We'd love to answer, and if we do answer, remember, we only answer honestly from our own opinions, okay? There's no right or wrong, and we're not trying to force our opinions on anybody. I don't know about. I think you do too, Wayne. Are you? Would you agree? You're the same as me. I'm very opinionless about things.
Yeah. Well, I have opinions, but I don't share them with people unless they ask.
Yeah. It's like when I say that, I mean I don't have like a view where I think I'm totally right about things, and this is the way it is. I'm very open to other people's ideas. That's what I mean. Anyone can think whatever they want to think.
Yeah, and if you think you know something, you always could be wrong. So it's better to re-examine some of these things from time to time.
At least keep re-examining exactly and learning more from what you do. Okay. Okay, so we're going to finish there. I can hear the little bird in the background there.
That's my clock, yeah.
Yeah, Wayne has a fantastic bird clock, right? With bird sounds, and it's just absolutely great. It's just waking everybody up to nature.
That's the cue. That's the cue. It means our time's up.
Our time's up. We're out of here. See you again next time, okay, on Mind Tunnels. Thanks so much for joining us. If you have any questions or anything, or maybe even if you'd like to be on the show or say a few words, if that's possible, I don't know how we would do that. But who knows in the future. But me and Wayne will always be hosting this show, okay? See you now. Goodbye. And as I always say, train hard and stay safe. But you just take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.
Take care. See you.
Okay, bye.